Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I've got what I consider to be the king of the classic Bally's. Definitely the king in terms of price anyway. There might be Fathom might be more valuable, but it's one of the top priced Bally's. I don't know if it's the best playing Bally. People can argue about that. I'm not going to. Anyway, I picked this up last weekend. Somebody's done a pretty good job repainting the cabinet. It's really fresh, shiny. Looks really nice. The Playfield, not so much. There's some old touch-ups there. Look pretty sorry. That just is atrocious. Barrier and something that's like green magic marker or something. I don't know. New pop caps. It looks like brand new plastics with the old rubber caps on there. I don't know. It's got the old posts. It's got the old rubbers. It's got the old drop targets. New spinner decals. So it's like the stuff that was easy to do cosmetically, it was done, and that's about it. I'll show you the electronics. They are all stock. Original caps. Probably the original battery. 8311. I think this game came out before 83. Maybe not. So that might have been swapped a few years later. I think this is like, I want to say this is 79 or 80. Not actually sure. Maybe I'll look that up. Anyway, that's the 11th week of 83. So it looks like it's been resoldered. It's been replaced, but it's still extremely old. All these boards are original. Looks like you got some burning connectors down here. Rectifier board. And it's got the additional lamp drivers over there. And so that's about it. It's got the ground delete, so you know it's going to be quality when you see that. That was deleted in about 1983. This game booted when I got it. I just stood it up. We'll see if it boots now. Should have counted some flashes. So the soundboard is very staccato. Needs a little dwell. That's a little different. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be. Usually they're together. Maybe later on they spread them out the zeros. So it's still got a high score saved on the memory. So that battery is still working. Crazy, isn't it? Auxiliary lamp board is working. So, geez, here, let's go through some tests real quick. I'm gonna hit this once. Let me turn off the lights. Most of the that K and that I and that, well, there's a number of them that are not working. Kind of you figure that's going to be the case in an old Bally game that nobody's really giving a whole lot of love to, at least on the electronic side. Could be bulbs, just as likely to be sockets, or it could be that board. I'm probably going to LED this game, so I'm probably going to swap that board out and put an LED eligible board. Looks like those two are not working. I was going to say all the controlled lights up here are working except for that one. That's probably wired in parallel with those three, I'm betting. It's probably a bulb. So, yeah. I guess I'll probably should start with that plug. Why don't I do that? I always say I should do that, and I never do that. I always wait till the very end because it's boring and I don't like doing it. But I really should do it first, so I'm going to actually do it first this time. Before I do that, let's go ahead. Let's go through the solenoid test here. Oh, there's our display test. I know they're kind of glitching on y'all, but they all look good, and they're all very bright too. So that all 5 displays, I'd say, are excellent. So that's good news. Okay. I think 2 and 10 didn't do anything. I don't know if they're supposed to do anything. 2, 10, and an 11. We'll check that out. Well, I just opened up the game. I found a rubber kit. I believe these are probably, I don't know, I think I'm going to open it up. If they're natural rubbers, I'll probably just go throw them in the trash because I don't really care for them. They get too dirty too quick. But here's something. Got the 4 drop targets. Definitely need those. A fabric kiss poster. I've always wanted one of those. And head bolts. I guess that's all cool. I'm gonna open this thing up and see what these are. Yeah, they're the natural rubbers. I know there's a lot of people that like them. They play extra bouncy, but just me grabbing it out of the bag. I don't know if you can see that splotch. My fingers are kind of dirty, but they're always dirty. And the games get dirty, and the white rubbers get just like, I don't know. The natural white rubbers get real dirty real fast. It doesn't work for me. So, I'm gonna look at 2, 10, and 11. Number 2 is the knocker. It's either cut or missing or broken. Number 10 is the bottom gate, and it is not working. And number 11 is coin lockout. It's coin lockout. It is engaged during the test. Usually these are turn off and on during the test, but this one's on. By the way, this is a 1979. I thought it was. So maybe that rectifier board is not the original one. That's what I think that's a newer one, or maybe it's an older one than I'm used to seeing. Anyway, I think it's. Let's see if there's a date. No, it's just 78. So that's an older version. Okay. All right, anyway, so that's the original one. Got a little static with the sound. Probably the volume pot, yep. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this thing off. And like I said, I'm gonna start with the wall and get a 3-prong plug on here. Got a new plug for the game. Just pulled the rectifier out and the transformer. Looking at these, and somebody has repinned this. I mean, those are looks all burnt up. That's just the housing. The pins have been replaced. In fact, they replaced all of them. They have since got a little bit more corrosion, but they are actually on the insides. If I can get it to focus on the insides. I know it looks dark and black, but that's just if you could see in person, you'd see that they're shiny inside of there. You see a little bit of the shiny. So the pins actually look pretty good. They're not Trivercan pins, but they are not burnt up. So I'm not going to repin that. The other thing I'm going to do is LED in this whole thing, and all these burnt up pins. Those are the lights that draw the current. So they're not going to have a lot of current going through them anyway. Now over to this rectifier board. It's had a lot of work done to it. That rectifier has been replaced. That one's been replaced. Some of these fuse holders, that fuse holder needs to be replaced. These header pins, really, they look pretty sorry. Nobody has swapped them out. They're pretty burnt up. So either I swap out some of these header pins and fuse holders, probably at least that one and that one, or I just put a new rectifier board. I think I'm just going to do the header pins. I think it'll be faster. I believe that's what I'll do. And again, once I LED this game, the main one that burns up usually is the controlled lights. So that'll take all the stress off of it. So without further ado, I'm going to get after it and get to solder. Let me get these 2 screws first. Yeah, these, it looks, I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, probably can. Those are really cold solder joints there. So I'm gonna take out all these header pins, and this could be more than I'm reckoning for, because that's just a lot to heat up without having a shovel iron, and I don't have one. So to get all that hot and get all that at once is gonna be a little difficult. We'll give it a shot. If it gets too difficult, I may just abandon and just put a new board on here. All right, so I got all the new headers put in. I got that one, that fuse swapped out. I'm gonna do this one here. I just apply a lot of solder and a lot of heat, and these things will usually just pop out. Just trying to get the whole pad heated up. There it goes. I obviously took the fuse out first so I can take one side out at a time. And now do that for the other side. Can y'all even see what I'm working on? Yeah, I guess you can. So I'll do that one more time, stick the fuse in, and we about ready to put this back in the game and see if any of this was worthwhile. So I cleaned all the thermal grease off there. I'm gonna use some of this Super Lube. Is not their lube stuff. This is, they sell heat sink also. So this is Super Lube heat sink. Just throw a little on here. And maybe off the screen, I just put a little bit right there. And now the key is trying to get all this lined up. These little standoffs are your friend because they will get the board lined up. Question is, do I have everything else lined up? Now if I can find my screwdriver. That one went in. This one is not going in. Oh, the plate, it's not even close. The plate slid down. There it goes. Still not screwing in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start over. I've got a wire that's run right underneath there. So start over. Third attempt, I got it down, I got it mounted. I'm gonna have to cut a couple of the pins on here. The keyed ones, I'm gonna do that in the machine. I did, at least the top two, I know there's a there's a plug on it, so I'll cut it when I get in there and make sure I cut the right one. I hope so. So I'm gonna throw this in the game and we'll see if it boots. So we got the rectifier board back in the game. Everything's working. Sound is making a little bit of background ticking, depending on what the lights are doing and whether or not I touch it. I think these pots are bad. Anyway, the next thing I'm gonna do is go through the solenoid driver board. I'm gonna recap it. Basically run the 5 volts from the top of the board to the back of the board by connecting TP1 to TP3. Do a couple ground mods, basically do a hard ground between the ground on that cap and the ground on this little high voltage cap back here. And maybe reflow the solder on the back of it. We'll see what that looks like, but I'm gonna yank the board real quick. Well, this board has been reflowed in the past, but there are a couple of them, like that one right there, are slightly fractured. That one is. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit them real quick. Just takes a second. At some point you're gonna have to suck the old solder off because it gets too much. It's really a better way to do it. Well, it's better if you got unlimited time. Okay, so next I'm going to take this cap out. And replace it with a new one. So that's the ground side. This is a ground tray. So if you go from here to here, you ground this thing to essentially this pad over here. So what I'm gonna do is just clean this off here. And I'm just gonna bridge that with a big blob of solder. There. That's done, so I'm gonna get a zip tie. Tie that down. Not real necessary, but kind of nice. Well, I'm out of small zip ties. I've only got these medium ones and I won't go through holes, so I'm gonna have to do that at a later time. I don't always take off or replace this high voltage cap, but I think I will. It's less important than the other one. Put up this thermal grease before it gets everywhere. This particular one's a little bit more of a pain to replace from the standpoint of, at least I don't have, all my caps are axial or radial. I don't have the axial caps, so. And this is, yeah, 350 volts. So my solution for using a radial cap is I solder it in just like that. So the positive is down the, and then I take just add a wire, run it over here, and when I get my zip ties, I'll put a little zip tie on there to lash it down to the board. So the other thing that's good to do, and make sure, so this negative side, again, ground it to the edge of the board. So just get yourself a little piece of wire. Strip back the leads. So I go to about there. Little stray piece of wire, don't like it. Okay, so lastly, I mentioned this for the 5 volts that's made, should say 5 volts that made here, to get down to the bottom of the board to power these chips. It comes out on the connector and then comes back in this bottom connector, so it has to come off the board and go back to the board. So to prevent that from having to happen, you can put jumpers from TP1 to TP3. I think it's that to that, right there. There. And just make sure. Yeah, TP, those are the two. So just putting a little jumper across there. Just gonna add a little solder here real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and use a red wire just because I've got some red wire. And this is way bigger wire than you probably need, but I think this is 18 gauge, I believe I've got here I'm working with. Anyway, so now this thing should be good to go. I should probably check these transistors because I had at least, well, I had two, the knocker and the gate weren't working. I didn't even open up the Playfield. The gate might be the coils. The coil might be missing. The knocker might be missing on it. But in any case, I'm going to check these transistors real quick just to see if they're all, if the diode check looks good on them. None of them look burn up, but diode check is quick, and I'll do it real quick. So just pick one, and I'm gonna pick this one. So between the center and the top and the bottom, they're both 0.58, 0.56, 0.52. That's between 0.4 and 7.7. And more importantly, you want them all to be about the same. So I'm just gonna run through here. Just takes a second. If you want to be real thorough, you can do it the opposite way, and they should both be open. I'm not gonna do that, because usually if you do it the one way, that will usually find most of the faults. Get that out of the way. If I see one that's off, I'll tell you that one's been replaced. I'm betting the knocker is either missing or unplugged. A lot of times people cut it because they don't like it knocking, or sometimes people will steal the coil because some other coil broke or burned up and they're in a pinch, so they'll take the coil from the knocker because you don't really need a knocker. Except they're cool, and I'm gonna have a knocker on this game. So if it's not there, it will be. So those all look good. So I'm gonna throw this in the game and we'll move on. Just checking out the connectors, and this has all been repinned also, but I did notice this little blue one here, the little tab that holds it in there, it's broken off. So I'm gonna repin this blue one, because when you push it in, it kicks the pin out. So that's no bueno. So I'll do that. So I'm measuring TP1 here, measuring my 5 volts, and you see I've got 5.3. That's too much. Almost every Bally I look at, it's too much. These things were designed when the voltage coming out of the wall was 115, maybe 120. Now it's like 125. So cutting out that little resistor, just snip it out of there, will drop the voltage about 1/10. There's jumpers down here. You can change the jumpers and that'll reduce the voltage. That will reduce all the voltage. I kind of like doing this because that will keep the other voltages in their high state. Kind of basically the game is kind of like, it's kind of high tap. So it keeps the solenoid voltages up a little higher. So your flippers are better, your pop bumpers are better. But it'll keep your 5 volts down a little bit. So I'm gonna snip that just right now. Okay, I'll measure this again. Got a lot of feedback noise on the soundboard. 5.22, less than 5.25. It's a little higher than I'd like, but it's reasonable. So I'll just unplug that sound card. It's driving me crazy. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I may fix this. I'm thinking about getting one of those GTO card boards. So I've got that, if you watch the videos, have that Star Trek, I put the GTO board. It's a custom soundboard. Same guy makes one for this game. It's pretty cool. I'm thinking about doing that. I'm either gonna get that board or I'm gonna go ahead and fix this. I'll probably just start with recapping it. That's probably gonna take care of most of this nonsense, but because that's all the original caps on the soundboard. In any case, the next thing I'm gonna do right now, then I'm gonna pull this MBU board, go through it, at a minimum, getting rid of that dude, and yeah, maybe reflow some solder, put on probably a little NiCad coin cell battery. Yeah, so this for sure is a replacement battery because that's the 11th week of 83, and this game came out in 79. Or this is not the same board. This is a board from a different game that came out in 83, and then it got thrown into this KISS machine. That's also a possibility. But actually, for sure, it's you can tell it's you can tell it's been resoldered. So yeah, it's been swapped out. So anyway, I'm getting rid of it right now, and I'm going to put in a coin cell in place of it, and with a checking diode to keep the board from trying to charge up the non-rechargeable battery. Oof. So that's the negative one. You can tell it's negative because it's attached to the side of the board. So I'm going to stick this in there and kind of scribe. So there's a little line. I don't know how well it's showing up, but I can I don't know if y'all can see. I can see through the board and see that there's nothing on the other side. I'm gonna drill a hole in on the, well, I'll do that right now. All right, so now that can fit like that. And then from here to there, so that's the positive side. From here to here, I can put a blocking diode. So I'm gonna first just get at least one side of this soldered in here so I don't have to hold it any longer. I keep calling it blocking diode. I think that's what it's called. I mean, I guess all diodes block. Well, I guess some of them rectify. So we want it this way, so the voltage can get off the battery, so it can go that way, but it can't go this other way. I can put a sleeve, or I can make this tight enough so that it can't get out and touch anything else. Alrighty. Note to self, never buy black side cutters because you never find them on your bench. Well, that little piece went to somewhere. Now I'll throw a little battery in there. And maybe I will even go as far. $9.24. So this is dated. So oh, those are kind of bent. I'm going to check these header pins real quick. Some of them have been reflowed. Those have. And these have. I need to give some magnification so I can see a little bit better. And these have not, but they're not used. As far as I know, Stern's the only one that uses these. The old classic Sterns, that is. Those all look good. So, I think that's good to go. I'm gonna throw this in the game and hopefully it continues to boot. All right, so I didn't kill anything. The game's up and running here. Yeah, I'm in the game at the moment. So I think next thing I'll do is do this aux driver board. And as far as I know, everything's working on here, but well, a bunch of lamps are not working, so this could be part of the problem. So I'll pull it off. Maybe I'll run my multimeter across all those transistors, or I guess they're SCRs, and take a look at the header pins and just kind of give them one. Well, so the header pins have been reflowed and they still look good. We do have one replacement. Looks like it got pretty torn up, but somebody's they've got it all attached to the tracer, so it looks decent. They've wrapped it around, so somebody had a difficulty getting the other one out and burn it up or something, but they managed to get it back. So I think I will run my multimeter across these real quick and just see if they're all appear to be the same. So on these SCRs, at least these particular ones, between the top and the bottom, 0.65, and everything else is nothing except for the opposite, which is 2. Anytime you get something like 2 or 2.2, usually if you reverse them, you get what you're looking for. This 6.5 or 5.5, 0.65 or 0.5. So I'm just gonna check these, and they're all checking out here. See, this one goes, okay, it's like that. Yep. So those all, seems like everything's okay on here, so I'm gonna throw it back in. I threw that aux lamp driver board back in the game, pulled out the soundboard. I don't know if I'm gonna use this. Like I said, I'll make it one of those GTO boards, but either way, I'd like to have this one fixed and ready to go in some other game. So I might as well just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna just, one at a time, take them out, put in a replacement. So I'll start with this big one here. Which hole? Big hole. And what do we have here? 100, 100. How about a 100, 160? That should work. As I remember, these are just barely big enough to span that. Yep. So all right, one down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go. All right, so I swapped all the caps. I haven't done anything with the pots. I twisted them a little bit. Sometimes I would clean them up a little bit, but I haven't changed them. I'm gonna throw it in there and see where we're at right now. Actually, I was thinking I hadn't looked at the solder joints, and they do not look good. I don't know how well you can see that. That looks, this is a little suspicious, that top one there. Probably the other end isn't looking great either, so I'm gonna resolder these real quick. All right, well, let's boot it up and see. I can already hear the noise. Yeah. Well, that definitely sounds better, but there's still some background noise. I don't think it's... It's actually when this is... It's worse when the board is grounded. Well, there's no, that's a different sound. I don't know, I can't. I can't consistently make it happen or not. It kind of comes in waves. I thought it was the light show was doing it. Let me put it in light mode. And no. And see, it's, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but it just periodically, it'll doesn't seem to be corresponding to anything. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. Just wiggling stuff, trying to find. Let me drive the screws in the soundboard real quick. I was digging around, looking at the speaker, and I found the knocker, and sure enough, one of the wires is disconnected there. So I bet that will make the knocker work, so I'll resolder that real quick. I sprayed some alcohol on the volume, this RT3, and then scrubbed it back and forth, and pretty much most of the noise went away. So I'm pretty certain that is my problem, so I'm gonna swap it out with the new pot, and maybe I'll do the sustain too. I don't think the sustain was giving me problems, but probably in about the same shape, so I'm gonna swap out both of those. So after putting those two pots on the soundboard, sounds are good. Let's start a game up here. I know none of y'all watching the game. You're watching Jane, loved ones, there and go. He's doing the Snoopy. He's doing the Snoopy. All right, so I figured out why this thing was disconnected. It wasn't because it was noisy. It's because it's shorted out. I probably could have had a hint of that, given that it's so brown, but I measured, well, I'm gonna just do it right here. Measure resistance, and it is, I think it's on there. Yeah, 1/2 ohm. That's dead, shorted out. So yeah, I just fired up the game, was flipping the switches, see what's happening, earn a free game. Well, let's hit the special. Well, I blew the fuse. So I'll take that back off there and get a new coil. So I just wired in a new used coil. Let me show you what it does when I turn it on. It knocks immediately, which means that when I had wired the other one, it blew the relevant transistor. I can kind of smell it, which means maybe I can see it. Anyway, I'm gonna have to pull that board out and change the transistor that goes to it. I might be able to just see it. And if not, I can use the diode test. And if not, I can use the schematics. But one of those is not like the others. All right, so just from eyeballing things, there's a little bit of black smudge on here, and this one looks a little bit more gray than the other one. So I'm gonna, actually I've got, no, I don't have the schematics opened up. I'm just gonna test it real quick. That'll be faster. Flip this thing over and do a diode test. I already did a diode test once, so I know that it was fine. In fact, it fired that coil. It was fine until I fired it. When it fired it, that coil was shorted. The shorted coil blew the transistor. And now that I put a proper coil in there, it's immediately, when I boot it up, now that this is shorted, now that coil is pulling. And if I left it very long, it would short the coil again. So it's like, you gotta usually swap them out in pairs. Okay, I'm just gonna go through and check these. Okay, so that's black's in the middle. So this is the one I suspect. Maybe that's not it. Let me check all of them real quick. Whoa, that's not right. That's shorted. Okay. Well, let me desolder that real fast. Of it. Whew, getting hot. Let's swap hands. My articulate hand on the, it's all twisted up. That's why it wouldn't come out. Best part is when you yank it out and the hot solder flows, pops out in your hand. That's my favorite part. Ah. I've got it hot now. I need to get a hold of it, we'll do something else. There we go. All right, I think that's good enough. Throw a first transistor in there. Put it in the same orientation as all the others. Should probably just take a second and measure that pre-transistor. Usually they don't blow, but it just takes a second. And if it is blown, I don't have to pull this board again. So, I guess it's still not a pre-transistor, it's just got a diode. So, let's do it from the front of the board here. Just measure them real quick. So these should all, I'm not sure exactly which one it was. It's one of those. So those are all good. All right, so I should have fixed it. I'm gonna throw it in and we'll see if they can get the knocker to work. Okay, reboot it here. Getting our green flashes. All right, we're all booted up. Actually, I'll just go through the test mode. Why isn't our test mode working? Huh, it was working. Well, may have some more pins. I didn't actually check these pins here, but that pin there, I just wiggled it, which goes to the coin door. And now the coin door is working. So probably gonna need to redo that one and maybe this one too. These are oftentimes bad on these old Ballys, particularly because this battery here gets corrosion and eats up, but this board is clean. It doesn't have any corrosion, but nevertheless, that pin there, those pins are not great. Anyway, for now, I'm going to go through the solenoid test and we'll see if we get a knocker. There we go. So the knocker's working. So fixed a knocker and gave myself a lot more fun. I'll check all these 0.1. The big ones have been, oh, I never actually put that one back in. Any case, still, it's more repinning to do. And a lot of Playfield work. I pretty much decided, I was kind of toying with the idea of putting down an overlay on here, and I think I've decided against doing it. I'm gonna just keep it original, let Jane have a go at this, and you know, new posts, new rubbers, and I think I'm gonna keep the original sound card. I decided, I think I'm gonna do that. So that one's busted right there. Just saw that. Can y'all see that plastic there, which is kind of unfortunate because that's gonna make that shot jankly if you don't, it's supposed to kind of smooth that out coming up around there. Might be able to scab another piece of plastic above or below that one, or just reproduce that one from just cut out a piece of plastic and move those little bells over to the new piece of plastic, because otherwise it's got a new plastic set. That probably came in the new plastic set, I would think. Maybe they just didn't move it over because it's kind of a pain to move those little mushroom bells over. I bet it did come in the plastic set, because this has got the old plastics down below. And you can look at them and tell they're brand, well, I don't know if they're brand new, but they're fairly new because they're crystal clear. There's all the old plastics. Maybe I'll look around real close and see if that particular plastic is down there somewhere. Well, for sure those little clear plastics are in the new plastic set. I'm just looking at one that's for sale. They just didn't put them on this game for whatever reason. Well, I know what reason. It's a pain in the butt, but I wish they had, because it's not at the bottom of the game. So I'm gonna either have to make one or fix that one. So Jane has finished cleaning this and has started in on the painting. She's done some of the, well, what was white, now it's kind of cream, some of the green, and she said, don't film it, it sucks. So she'll probably end up doing this 2 or 3 times, because that's way too dark. I mean, clearly.
Clearly. Well, it just, some paints dry darker than others.
Yeah, so it's trial and error quite a bit.
But I do it layer by layer.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was bare. So
Yeah.
if I want the playing field even, I'm going to have to do a few coats anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, it looks a lot better than it did. And it's all bare. I mean, I say bare. Some of that black, all the white stuff, I mean, some of that whiteness will go away once it gets waxed.
Oh yeah, that'll be.
So that looks way worse now than it. Once it's wetted with, I say wetted, she's putting slobber on it, which is not. That's what it'll look when it's waxed.
It'll look beautiful.
So the black will look a lot better when it gets that richness of the wax, and all the colors will. It'll be more vibrant. But right now it's completely raw. So just so this paint will stick, and then she'll put some Varathane on top of that. But anyway, the dogs are very anxious to go out for a walk. Yeah. So she's just touching and touching and touching. Jake, are you ready for a walk?
He wants to go home. Right.
Yeah. Okay. What in the hell are you doing now?
I wish you'd have seen it before.
Oh, they saw it. It was like 10 seconds ago. They saw it before.
Oh, well, shoot.
What have you got mixed up here? What is this concoction?
That is acrylic black paint.
Okay, I got that.
Okay, mixed with number 2.
Mind blown. That is so effed up. I don't even know what to think about it. What in the hell are you doing to my machine?
Well, do you remember?
Yeah, save it for a kiss to really mess with it.
Well, it's a house-owned game.
That is true.
I'm not going to do this experiment with somebody else's game.
Yeah, you're going to mess up my game.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So
because it's my game.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's your game now. All right.
I'm working on it.
So what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm erasing the crazing and the ball swirls on the black paint, because if the black paint jumps out at you, the whole board's going to look a lot better.
So can you show me an area where you've done it?
I've done it everywhere, almost everywhere. That
definitely looks way better. It's black again.
It's black
because you
again.
had slobbered over some of here, and it kind of looked better for a little bit, but not really. Have you done this part yet?
I've done this part. I just finished
this doesn't look as good as that. Is that just because this was way weathered?
It was really bad. Now this
place?
is going to look better when it's polished, but this has a good polish.
So you've polished this also?
No.
No, okay.
But this just had a whole lot more wear than what was up here. So this is, I mean, you're late in the game, I guess. But I just did this part, and I'll probably do it again. You can see the ball wearing.
I gotta get the light in there to really see it. Yeah.
I haven't done this part. But the whole board, you know, had all these white stripes in them. And one of the tricks is you got to be careful because you can't put this stuff on the other colors. I mean, because it is black. And I'm rubbing it in, basically filling in these crazed marks with black paint.
And where did you come up with this idea?
Art.
Did you read this on Pinside?
No. I know y'all are thinking, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah, I'm
That's
thinking,
so
what
bad.
the hell is she doing?
This is a trick that furniture refinishers do, actually. When you want to take the cracks out of furniture polish, furniture damage, needs some more buffing.
Well, that looks pretty good. You need to do it on an area that's really so there's no really crappy areas left.
No, you missed the really crappy areas already.
Well, if y'all scroll back, we looked at this just a little bit ago, like a couple of minutes ago for y'all. It was, I don't know, several days for us.
You'll see, I mean, this is under the Mylar, so
Yeah.
you can see where it was, how the whole board was.
Oh, that's
Because this is saved. It's saved badness.
So
and
these
this is
are
a
not-
little bit, actually,
these
I
are
haven't
not-
done in here.
These are non-factory guards because that's a wear underneath the Mylar.
Yeah, but like I have not done in here, and that's what the whole board looked like.
Yeah. Go from that to something that looks. This is the area she's done it, and this was a highly weathered area. Yeah, you can actually see where you skipped the red, the difference.
So you do need to, it takes some time, but I think,
Well,
you're
your
not going to
green-
learn anything new
Your
if you
green
don't try.
snake still like jumps out at me. It's like killing me. It looks. I don't know what the hell is going on here. What is this big bulb? Did it eat a rat or something?
This was all bare wood.
Well, the snake does. It looks like it ate a rat.
Okay, but I haven't
It's
done the
supposed to,
artwork.
it's supposed to go like this way.
Yes, but I haven't done the artwork.
Okay.
So all this is going to be colored over. We still have an indentation on the board.
Okay.
So
So you
there's,
just used green instead of yellow because you had green.
I had green, and it's going to get painted over, but this is
Okay.
just basically layering up the paint.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop filming and let you get back to it. I don't want to slow down progress. Can't afford it.
Dude, you're going to film a little more?
Yeah, I'm gonna film a little more. Let's
Jeez.
see where we're at.
Yeah. So I'm writing the letters now. So this is.
Sure, you
this
get them
is-
spelled correctly.
God.
You see that? She had her hand up. She's gonna hit me. Abusive wife.
I was merely pointing, being Vanna. Yeah, I've got a lot of.
Oh, that snake still hadn't digested the rat yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got
What
a
the
lot of.
hell?
What the hell, man?
Wait, he's got a black line, but there's still green on the other side of the black line. You drew in that black line, yes, I can see that.
Yes, I drew in the black line, but I still have colors to do, but I couldn't paint over it. I had to wait for it to dry to put in the actual art.
What is the stipulation? Stipulation?
Those are all bare spots in the board that hopefully will disappear by the time I'm done.
Okay.
The head looks much better. You
Well,
can
this
see.
looks a lot better.
Well, yeah,
Except
it's
for the
getting
missing
there.
three. Does that say 3,000?
I have no idea what it says. I have to look it up.
May be
It
something
may,
else.
Yeah, it may be more, but I've
And this
got
is probably
the,
just supposed to have flames. Yeah. flames are on above the top.
Yeah, so what I'm doing, I'm looking at a Playfield online. So that's where my art's coming from, is just copying Playfield from that's.
IPDB.
No, actually, IPDP didn't help me on this particular case. This is a Playfield for sale
Oh, okay.
that just has decent pictures, so
Well, it's looking better.
it's a
We'll
little
see.
tedious, but it's getting there.
I'm looking forward to having this green bulge. It's driving me crazy.
I know. I'll make that the last thing.
Maybe you
to
should just
keep you-
leave. Maybe you should put an like a skeleton of a little rat curled up inside of there. I think now that I could go for, like where you could see it.
You could see a rat in there.
Yeah, like have the bulges of a rat's innards inside of the. It's not really.
See, now you're making me think of Ozzy. I should
Yeah.
just put a bat in there and see what happens.
Yeah, a bat spitting blood or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, Jane was very interested. One more coffee cups on the Playfield, so Jane must be at work here. The boss, that is. Nobody else gets away with that.
Coffee.
Well, the rat is fully digested, and wow, that looks really, really pretty good. I mean, you can't tell that was a rat a little bit ago, and before that it was just bare. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And with the area where it was all polka dotted over here, I can't really find it. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Got our 1,000, got our 3,000. It's looking pretty good.
I don't know what to do over here. Because these are black lines, but on the original, these were red lines, and I don't have a red.
You don't have a red marker?
No, not thin enough to do those lines. So I'm debating whether to leave it blank or use black lines.
Oh, I see. Those are supposed to be red, like right there.
Yeah. See, these are black on this level, but they're red on the upper levels.
I'm just trying to focus in. Yeah, they're just...
So do I do black or do I leave it blank?
They're so nuanced. I mean, probably in the original, they were not so faded out. You could probably see them.
You could see them, but they were definitely orange. They were like a darker orange red.
So
it's kind of like artistic license, I guess.
yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just looks bad,
honest.
plain.
Yeah.
I don't know. Once I get the circle filled in.
I'll leave it to you. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm happy.
I'm glad you're happy.
I'm happy.
Cheers.
Cheers. To drinks on the Playfield. I went to do a call, came back. I think Jane's done painting this. She's still going to do some everything on it. I went ahead and LED'd the back. I'm going to leave these incandescents for one as a different board, and I didn't want to buy another board, LED board. And second, even if I did have the board, I like the incandescents for the KISS symbol. I've already kind of diagnosed this one right here. If I wiggle on this connector right here, and I see there, I can make it come on and off. So it's either a bad pin or more likely a bad solder joint on the header pin and not the connector itself. So anyway, I'm gonna pull that board and take a look at it. Yeah, the little pins inside of here look pretty decent. Oh, that one is kind of hanging out there. The third number, that's the third one down, so that would be 20, 19, 18. So maybe that's, if that one, I could look on the schematics and see which one that is. Well, that bulb question there. So it's a 5A or SA4. SA4 is pin 20, so that's not the same. Pin 17. It's like SB4, so it would have been this one over here. That wasn't it. So anyway, I'm gonna pull that board and take a look at those header pins. So Jane's gonna do some clear of everything on the paint. She's done touching it up, and so looking at the bottom of the cabinet, I found these, and sure enough, these are the metal yolks that go right in the front of the fiber yoke right there. These are the old style. They're flat. The new ones, like that one right there, zoom in so you see they've got that little lip on it there that juts out. It keeps them from flexing and breaking in two. So anyway, I was gonna take these apart anyway. I pretty much have to take them off to get the new lamps soldered in here. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to get to it. Get these all soldered. So, but anyway, I always like to take these apart, take the whole mech, throw it in the ultrasonic, and put a new sleeve in there. It just makes everything work a lot better. So I'm gonna do that right now. So when you get this stuff apart, it's a good time to clean out the backside of that spoon. I promise you, the backside of that spoon is at least as dirty as the part you can see. I mean, you get a rag, some alcohol, and wipe it, it'll look like it's nasty. I just promise you that. I promise you that. Also, just keep your eyes out for stuff like that. That wire is just barely attached. Just a couple of strands, and that is the voltage. So, and these are all daisy chains, so I don't know if that's one coming in or going out, but either way, everything downstream from this and or including this is going to be a little on the weak side, because you know, you've gone from an 18 gauge wire to effectively like for a little short piece, just like you know, like a 28 gauge wire, because there's like 3 strands that are actually soldered there. So, and I'd venture to say that's been like that since that thing was made. I don't think that's been resoldered. So anyway, I'm gonna take care of that. It's always good to see if you've got the cap still on there. Those effectively lengthen the time that the switch looked like they're closed to the CPU. Like that one is missing there, so I'll replace that one. It's very common for operators or whoever's running these games to snip them off, because if these things short, this will stop working completely. If you just cut it off, it starts working again. It starts working most of the time, but occasionally this will, if it goes really fast, the CPU will miss it. This makes that look like it's closed longer. It's less of an issue on the pop bumpers, because the switch closers, just by the physical nature of them, are longer. These I guess those are drop targets. The stand-ups, I don't know if this, I'm sure this game's got some stand-ups on it somewhere. Anyway, they're the ones that are most prone to really needing them. Looks like a stand-up right there. Yes, it is. Oh, no, that's just a little 10-point switch. Anyway, this thing, surely this has got some stuff. Oh, there's a whole bank of them over there. I thought those were drops over there. So that, yeah, so these should all have them. And that one's got it. That one, 2, 3, and that one's missing it. So I'm gonna get some 0.047, aka 0.05 these days, microfarad caps, and throw them on there. By the way, don't buy the cheapest ones you can find. Get some good caps. I ended up using film caps, and they're like $0.25 a piece. So I bought some. I bought them from DigiKey. They were like $0.01 a piece, and I've had some of them start shorting, and so I threw all that whole batch away, and I paid way too much, $0.25 a piece for a little tiny cap. And a film cap is way more than it needs, but I don't want
I don't want these things to fail. It's, you know, the labor is way more important than the quarter for the little part. So that's what I'm using. On my drop target parts are pretty filthy and nasty, and I just throw the whole thing in there. The ultrasonic, I don't tear them apart. The ultrasonic will find all those crooks and crevices and clean them out. I'm spraying alcohol on the tip of this rag. I'm going to show you what comes off the back of one of these. Yeah, that one wasn't as bad as I really thought it would be. Get another clean spot. Get this one here. They weren't as bad as I thought. Actually, the part you can't see is dirtier on these. I've seen some of them where it's like, where people have actually put grease in there and there's like yellow goo. Looks like earwax. Clean up the surface of these just so they look a little bit better. I usually wipe these down too, just partly for looks and partly because that shaft is, the plunger's going to go in and out just so it doesn't, you don't get some accidental dirt just getting shot back up in there. This is going to be a lot easier to do with two hands, so I'm going to use two hands to do this. I replaced some of these missing caps with some fresh new ones. I'm not going to put these things back together. I might rebuild them, but I'm not going to mount them back on until Jane's done the top side. I can actually build the pop bumpers because I need, like I said before, I need the lamp leads coming through so I can solder them up before I put the bottom side on. See how these look? It's been about 5 minutes or so. Oops, it's a little over full. They look pretty good. A little residue under there. Maybe I'll let them stew about, yeah, they're, I get it to focus. Trying to focus through the bottom. Anyway, it's nice and shiny, except for one little spot there. I think I'll let them cook a little longer because it's easy. I don't have to do anything except flip a button. So I got that soldered in there. So what this 6 volts DC does is it keeps, basically provides more current to go through these SCRs, and they're kind of like transistors, except for they need a lot of current to stay in their altered state. So there's all these little resistors that are in parallel with them. So it makes, well, if I can get to focus on the right thing. It allows the board to think when you're running an LED, it's got extra current also going through a resistor for each bulb. So this SCR has enough current to when it will stay locked on instead of flickering on off, on off, on off, on off, on off. And that's what happens if you, a lot of times, it doesn't use all the time, but it happens a lot when you run LEDs in these classic Ballys. So that's done. I've got the back box LED'd. I showed you that already. So let's see, and I had some errors with it, so let's see if that fixed those errors. I'll turn it on. Had a couple that were ghosting, and that could have been an issue with not enough current. It could have just been an error on the old board. One of the SCRs was bad. So, okay, so those are all good. Gosh, I would say some of these bulbs are brighter, I would say. That could be just getting rid of the old header pins off there. And some of them are not lit at all, but you know, these bulbs are pretty toasty. Hopefully it's just bulbs. Probably some sockets too. But I think I'll leave this here until Jane comes and she can put some clear coat, because all that paint she put on there, it's fragile until she puts some Varathane on it. So I just pulled out all these lights, the one big fixture from here, and these sockets are really filthy in there. I've already cleaned that one, and I just use ideally you could do this dry, and this one I think I can get away with doing it dry. It's just jam a paintbrush, or I think this is like a makeup brush, I don't know. And I got most of it. and that looks way better. And I can't get it to focus in on the right thing. Just dark. Yeah, you see all the, I don't know if you can see that or not there. Let's find that one. That one you can see all the dirt. That one's gonna be a little harder because it's so skinny. But that got about 80% of it. And sometimes I'll spray alcohol and do the same, but once you start doing that, it kind of makes a mess. You're in deep once you go that route. I don't like to have to do that if I don't have to. And I'm not gonna do that on these. I'm just gonna clean them dry, because that is pretty, whoops, that's the wrong one. There, that one's pretty good. The other thing I'm gonna do, in addition to changing all these bulbs, and I'm gonna color match. I put the green for the green, yellow for the yellow, white for the white, red for the red, and I guess these are amber colored on the outside, I'm not sure. Anyway, some of these, like that one's a little loose. Some of these are real loose. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and fix every one of them, because even if they're not loose now, once they get some heat in them, they'll change. They might become loose once they get hot. Like that one's real loose. So basically, get a file and file that joint between the cylinder and the base plate. So you got some fresh metal, helps put a little flux on there, and then turn your soldering iron up real hot and just put a little bead of solder. So you're basically welding between the cylinder and the plate, and that's the failure point usually on these. Sometimes it'll be on the back side between, see that tab in the top there, and I'm not filming very well between that tab and that little top piece, because it's basically another contact and that spins around. You can just move the wire from that tab and put it right on the tip there, if that's the case. So anyway, this is gonna be kind of a pain just because there's so many. I'm gonna take the bulbs out first and just get to filing and file every one of these, put a dab of flux on every one. It'll take 15-20 minutes, but then that thing will be rock solid. Okay, so I got all these soldered up. It was more of a pain than I thought it was going to be. I had to use a wire wheel on a Dremel to effectively, oh, my focus is not working today, to basically get in and get all those cleaned up. All right, got these LEDs all lined up in there. I got the ambers, the greens, the yellows, the whites, and the reds. I think it looks great. I'll put it on the lamp test here. Whoops, Playfield just fell in. So you compare it to the other ones adjacent to it there. It actually looks more similar on the camera than it does in real life. It's just like these, you can hardly, they don't even look like they're coming on hardly. So anyway, I said this before, probably this one here, this clear one. And sometimes I would do these, but there are so many of them, and you're not really laying it right on top of this one. You're like, you can see the bulb, and you're standing, this is right in front of the flipper. So I'll probably put a real bulb here, incandescent bulb, and maybe one here also. Just those translucent ones. I mean, this is the same material, but I'm not gonna do that here. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm gonna finish up on these bulbs. Jane just did the Verathane yesterday, so I need to wait at least another day before I wax it. So I'm gonna try to do everything else today. Maybe do the drop targets, the flippers. Can't do the pop bumpers yet. I wanna wax it before I put those on there. I don't know, we'll just piddle around and get everything else done. So I'm just playing with the colors. I got most of this LED'd. I went ahead and put a purple, that's Purple Passion, which is the clear purples from Comet. They're not super bright, but they're more purpley than the regular purples. I guess I'm okay with that. I tried 3 different colors here. That's a daylight, that's a golden yellow, and that's a yellow. I think I'm gonna do the yellow. The daylight just kind of looks washed out. I do have daylights down here. I might go back and put the the regular cool white ones and make those actually more white. The only downside is this, you know, nothing's white on this Playfield anymore. Well, except the new plastics are going to be white, but all the rest of the white is kind of cream colored because it's old and aged. So I don't know. And the only problem with making that yellow here is, so that lens there is actually yellow. I've got a yellow bulb, and it's nice to have a differentiation between that one and these other KISS letters. Otherwise, they all just look the same, whereas this one needs to be nice to be distinguished because that opens your gate. So, you know, it's kind of a skill shot. And that one's just a white lens. I tried a regular purple. It's kind of pinkish looking. I'm not really crazy about that because there's really no purple or pink on here. I just made this one because it's like the super bonus, so it kind of stands out. It's kind of a one-off. I don't know what I'm gonna do something else for that. I tried a couple different. I tried, you know, different colors with spinners lit. You know, you kind of want that to stand out. I tried red. The only problem is, and it looks reddish, but it's not as red as these with the red bulb and red lens. It's kind of a faded red, so it doesn't really work. You know, it's just me being petty, but I kind of get into the bulbs. I tried the blue would be kind of nice. The blue bulbs are really cool looking, but they're not very bright at all. So, you know, and some of these other colors they're all kind of weird pastels. That teal is kind of a weird color. Could maybe put green, ice blue. Doesn't really work on this game. So I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more. I think I probably am gonna just go ahead and settle with the yellow for the letters, A, B, C, D, and also the KISS letters. I guess I can make these yellow and make those white up there because these are different. That's one option. So I'm gonna go ahead and make these yellow for sure, and maybe then I'll worry about the KISS letters. All right, I made all my decisions. You can like it or you can hate it, whatever. Went ahead and put an amber on there. It's kind of a peach once it goes through that lens, but it kind of matches that line to line. And because I want that to be kind of, you know, stand out because it's important. Same with that yellow. The KISS, I wanted those to be somewhat independent of everything else because there's those letters there, and there's also the ones at the Playfield, so it's nice to have those all tied together. So I ended up going with green because there's green on the Playfield, and there's not much green. There's really no green usage except for this KISS here, so I did that. I went ahead and left the sunlight here because it's kind of vintage, and this game needs some vintage because it is a vintage game for sure. I did use the cool whites up here, just make them stand out a little bit better. I tried a couple of different colors and I didn't like it, so I just left with the cool whites there. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this. Everything's LED'd except for this bulb here. And the GIs, I'm going to LED them after I wax the game. So I'm going to wait another day before I wax it, let this Varathane harden up. So I just pulled apart this gate assembly. This goes like that, and it has this gate on the other side, which keeps you from going out the outline. You can see how nasty it was. It was real sluggish. So I'm going to throw this on, trying to clean all that muck off there, get some alcohol on the Q-tip and clean out that bushing, and had to take the wire guide off the top and the nut and the C-ring and all that stuff, but comes off pretty easy. So I think it was just real sluggish, and I think this is the problem. Well, since I didn't film taking this apart, I guess I'll film putting it back together. So stick that through there. Whoops, knocked the camera. This slides on there, and get a couple screws put in there with their respective washers. So after reassembling this, there's a little bit of a catch where this pin here is rotated around too far counterclockwise. It's almost like at the apex, so there's not much torque at the top when it pushes on it, when this thing pulls. So I'm gonna bend this arm so that it starts about like that, and I think it will engage a little bit better.
break that. I've been a little too much. I'm gonna call that good. We'll see after I put the wire on there, see what it looks like. So you can see the state of these things. Somebody has, it looks like somebody's put, that's more than just, well, maybe it's not. I don't know that that's grease. It may just, yeah, there's a little bit of grease. Sometimes it's just the black carbon that built up everywhere underneath the pinball machine, but a lot of times these things will get sticky and people want to grease them, and that makes things, in the long run, it makes it worse. They should be dry and completely clean. They're not going to stay completely clean forever, but if you grease them, they're just going to attract more dirt. So I'm going to take this apart, pull out the old drop targets, clean it up with an alcohol and rag, and then put it all back together. I got these drop targets. There's just 4 screws, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and this plate will come off. And then it's just C-clips or E-clips, whatever you want to call them, and everything can come apart. So now it's just a matter of taking off each one of these C-clips. I start at the top just because it's easier. Just pry them off and sling them across the room if possible. Probably stayed in here. And a couple of these are the wrong type. So I may have to break them off. Let me get a magnet real quick. Magnetic tray anyway for all my parts. Or your cleaner of choice, and cleaning all the grease off of everything. And all these little parts, especially the shafts and the springs, they're all greasy and nasty. I'm gonna just put the whole tray in the ultrasonic just like this and get all the grease off of that. And I'm gonna spray this all down. This shaft particularly, I mean, it's completely tacky. This is actually fairly clean, but I'll call that and clean that. Just get it as clean as you can while you got access to it. So this game had 4 new targets down the bottom that somebody had bought but not put in, but I believe they're the wrong type. These are hooded. See in profile view, they stick out both sides, and these are the ones I ordered, the tombstone style, where they're flush on the front. Basically, for one thing, it makes them easier to stick in from the bottom of the target. These are better for like if you have inline targets, so that when it's down, the ball can roll across it and it doesn't leave, it fills up the entire gap. And so if you got one, say Dolly Parton or something, you got inline targets, the first one goes down and it basically makes a fairly smooth surface for the ball to roll across, whereas these don't do that as well. But these are better, I think, because they just they have more room to move back and forth, and so they operate better. So I'm going to use these tombstone style in this game. I'm honestly don't know which one came in it originally, but I think these will work better since they're not inline target. So I went ahead and attached the spring to the target. I should be able to fish that through real easily. I'm gonna pull, and I start at the bottom. Just makes it a little easier. Pull this down. This on. Now get it through there, or actually get it through there, and then stick it through. And now get all these pins. And I probably need to go get some nose pliers. Pierce the skin of my thumb. Got about halfway. I'm gonna get some pliers. And do that 3 more times and we'll be done with inserting them. Okay, I'll do this last one here. All right, so we'll see how these things work now. Look good to me. I think I'm gonna call that a win. And I think I am done for the day. I guess I could do part of the, I'll just say that for tomorrow. I was gonna say I could do some of the flipper mix. I guess I can put the bushings in, but then I'll just end up getting some wax on them. Yeah, I'll wait for tomorrow. So I've had this game sitting for a couple of days since Jane put the Verathane on there. Last night I left it on with the glass one, so it was nice and warm with those 44s running. Just run my hand on it. It feels a little bit rough. Occasionally you feel like there's a little something sticking up. I think I just knocked it off right there from the Verathane where it didn't quite lay down flat. A couple little high spots. Like I said, I just knocked one off with my fingertip right there. So anyway, I'm gonna wax this. There's no wax on it yet. I'm gonna use cleaner wax. So it's got a little bit of polish in there, which this thing could use a little bit of polish because it's not as smooth as it could be after putting that Verathane down. And you can see how much she painted, and that was all bare. Honestly, you get back here, nope, not gonna see it. Not gonna see it. Might notice that looking a little bit different, but you're not gonna see that or that or that. But how many kisses that are not a new Playfield is this bare or partially bare? Most of them, I mean, or at least a lot of them. It looks way, way better. I'm pretty happy with this. Jane put a ton of time in this, unfortunately. But yeah, she did a great job on it. Is it perfect? It's not perfect. Does it look like new? No. Does it look like a good condition used one? Yes, I'd say so. I'm happy with it. So I'm gonna get a thing waxed, get the pop bumpers done, get the flippers done, go through the slingshots, get everything populated, and roll some balls, and hopefully what's this? So it's Wednesday. Maybe on Friday, drop this thing off at Pins and Pints and get some quarters fed into it. So I've laid down that coat of Mother's cleaner wax and got it off, and it feels much better. It's slick now. The rag just slides across it. So I'm gonna do one more coat. I'm gonna do this Mother's Pure Carnauba, and that ought to really get it shining, and strip that off or wipe that off, and then be ready to start putting it back together. All right, I got the wax all taken off. Put some LED GI lights on there. I just set these on there. Going with the red ones instead of the whites. I'm gonna put on some new, these old posts. They're not horrible, but I'm gonna, it's a kiss. I'm gonna put some new ones on there. I'm gonna go with the black rubbers. I think the black's gonna look good, and start populating. I'm gonna start, normally I'd start at the bottom or start with the pop bumpers, but I don't wanna mess with pop bumpers right now. I'm gonna start with the top, just kind of give myself a little positive feedback, because these always look so cool. So we got my in lane set up. I got my pop bumpers. The top side's done. And I got the bottom wired up. I don't have the mechs done. I went ahead and put black skirts on here. I think they had white ones, at least the ones that came with it. I think that's probably what they came up with originally. I went with black, mostly because I didn't want to have bright white next to this cream color, because that's what color they would be, and there's a little bit of cream next to it, but mostly it's black in front of those, so it's less of a contrast with the white and the cream. Just kind of wanted to avoid that where I could. Could have gone with red. I almost went with red, but I don't know, I kind of wanted to go with kind of keep it black centric. Black rubbers, black accents. So just keep getting after it here. Well, I've got this game almost finished. I've just got spinner to put on there, but before then, that spinner goes right here. Before I do that, I want to repair this plastic. It's broken there. I'm probably going to put a scab across the top of it, cut a piece of plastic and glue it, and basically have the edge follow where that's supposed to be and not have a notch in there, so the ball will go around there nicely. So but I'll do that tomorrow. Just want to come back and enjoy my work for the day, or part of the day. I was working on Freddy, got him finished stripped up, and I put a clear coat on a card whiz. So that was my day. Anyway, I think tomorrow I'll get this thing up and maybe roll a bowl.
So I kind of crudely cut a piece of Lexan here. I'm just sizing it up. I need to carve out this interior here. Just gonna kind of mark it. I'm gonna take it over to the grinding wheel and basically grind out kind of a section, goes something like, basically grind out that area there. I can't really cut the interior because it's gonna, well, not with 10 snips or side cutters. I need a Dremel, or I'm just going to use the grinding wheel. So I ground that down and also kind of smoothed out the whole thing. It's still got its protective coating on it, so there's thin little plastic. If I can get it off, there it goes. I got one side started, so it's on both sides. So that's why I was willing to use a permanent magic marker, because it's not going to actually get on the Lexan. Anyway, I'm going to peel this off real quick. Okay, so we'll see how that looks in there. It looks pretty decent. And I'm going to just glue that in there. And what I'm going to use is super glue and baking soda. It will be super duper strong, but it will be a little bit ugly. This super glue by itself is a little bit ugly. You add baking soda, it makes it way, way stronger, but it also makes it a little bit uglier too. So, but you know, you're back here, it's really out of view, especially once you put in the you know, you got the spinner is going to go on top of it, and there's the spinner bracket, and then the spinner's there, so it's really not very visible. Well, you're not going to be standing here because there's going to be another game here, because it's going to be, you know, if you're standing here watching somebody else play, you can kind of see the side of it, but my game, I'll do it like this. This is kind of a cheaper way. The better way to do it would be to just cut out that whole piece, just take that off and get a proper tool and cut that out. I wish when somebody bought this new plastic set, like I said before, they'd have just moved those bells over, but they didn't. So this is kind of a down dirty way to do it. And I think, yeah, I'll pull that plastic out and do it. All right, so I got this kind of mocked up. I'm going to place a little bit of baking powder. Well, I can get it on there. I don't know, I guess I probably need to do the whole thing, because it's going to be raised. If I don't, then the ends of it are just going to be floating, so. A little bit more. Probably going to end up gluing this to my desk. I'm going to call that good right there. Move it to a clean spot, so less likely to glue it to the bottom. I do have this rubber mat. I'm hoping it doesn't stick. Let me go get some super glue. I'll be right back. All right, I'm just going to wet this up a little bit. Thinking maybe that's enough. Wow, that stuff hardened before I had a chance to even push it down. I thought I'd have a few seconds. I couldn't even mash it down because it got hard that fast. This is my first time doing this, so. Most of it never got, you can see it's still white, it never got glued. Try to get a little bit more in there. I don't know that it really matters. I think it's probably like super duper strong already. If it'll
wick in there. Yeah, you can see it wicking down in there. So note to self, if you ever do this, you need to be super fast, or maybe just place it and then do it like I'm doing, let it wick in from the sides. I think it's already sealed, so it can't really wick to the center because there's no permeability. So it's kind of ugly looking, but I mean, I think it's going to be like super duper strong. And it's going to have a nice radius there. It's a little crooked, but yeah, it'll be all right. So I'll let that super glue dry for a little bit, and I'll throw it back in the game. By the way, if you want super glue to dry, it doesn't so much dry as its moisture causes it to react. So if I went through this in the sink, it would set off immediately. It's not really what you want to do, but it's just the humidity in the air. So you put a fan on it, it will dry faster, but it's because you're blowing basically water molecules in the air across it. So I'm going to set this like that. I'm going to turn on my fan, and I think everything with the baking soda is already cured. Maybe the baking soda has, when it reacts, it's got like water molecules in baking soda. I'm not much of a chemist, so I don't know. I'm guessing that's the case, is that the baking soda acts as a catalyst for that stuff, because it set off immediately. I thought I'd be able to place it. No. So it's most I got a thumbprint on there now. There's still some wet stuff on the surface. Anyway, let it sit. All right, so I got that plastic in there, and you can't even tell it's all ugly looking. Now, if you get over here, yeah, you can see it's ugly looking, but I mean, it is strong. It's never gonna break. And that piece of mylar, not mylar, the little plastic piece I put in there, it's stronger, way stronger than the original, because it's like twice as thick, so it's never gonna break. So the only thing I've got left is just a little cosmetics. I'm gonna clean the door up a little bit. It's not horrible, but it's not as shiny as it could be. And the shooter knob, same. It could be, just gonna polish that, take it off, probably put it in a spring. And the flipper buttons are pretty grody. At least clean them. I may just pull them out and throw them in the ultrasonic. I don't know. I'll try cleaning them first and see how good I can get it. And if not, I'll yank them out. All right, it's time to play a game. Haven't done any settings, so the settings are whatever they were before when I got the game. I know it's on 5 ball. I'm gonna reach in here and give it a credit. Alrighty. We'll see what I can do. That center lane is a skill shot. It basically credits you a whole line of the kiss. It lights that whole kiss if you go through that center. Shoot. And at 5,000 points, apparently. Woo! Fast. I went all the way around, didn't hit anything. Oh my gosh, I wasn't ready for that. Wow, this thing doesn't give you much of a break. Ooh, got that spinner pretty good. Wasn't lit. Poppy, poppers are poppy. Yeah, I'm loving those pop bumpers. Add so much when you got good pop bumpers. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I think I got it twice. I don't know if it counted it twice. Well, that was a decent ball. So if you do those 4 times, if you get all 4 of them down, you like the 40,000, and that stays from ball to ball to ball. All the bonus does. And if you do it again, you get 80,000. I think I saw the drop targets were all scoring, but the little, I don't know, 10-point switch behind it, I hit that one time, and I don't think that one went that big a deal, but I want to get it. Oh yeah, there we go. So now, oh. I need those ABCD because that'll get, okay, I'll get a break as it went back in there. So if you get ABCD, the first time I'm going to get the 2 times bonus, which I really need because I got the 40,000 there. So, and if you do it again, the second time's extra ball, third time special. I guess you could set the special as an extra ball too, would probably be the way to go. Well, I'm not in commercial. It's going to get a commercial, so I'll leave it. I'll leave special. I'm not sure what likes the spinner. Oh, I just grazed that A, but it didn't trigger it. Oh my gosh. I like that. Those pop bumpers are just, I'm loving it. Oh yes, that gave me, knock the drop targets down, that gives you another row kiss. So I'm at one more row and I'm at the 80,000. That whoop, whoop, whoop. That's the 40,000. I guess it does it 4 times. So if I could hit the skill shot here, I'd like the 80,000. And oh my God, there it is. Okay, so now I really absolutely need that. Well, I didn't get it. ABCD is like, the ABCD is 80,000 points if I can get it at this point. Shooting ABCD is kind of dangerous. Oh, there he goes. Y'all can't see my score. It's actually pretty decent. 438. So, pretty decent score. According to the scorecard, that would have given me 1 free game, but not the second one. So 280 for a 3-ball game. That was what somebody thought was a reasonable gig based on these instructions. And the game probably isn't set up for this. I have no idea. But anyway, I may do a play video of this separately. I don't know. But anyway, this is going to end this video. And this is going out to Pins and Pints tomorrow, probably before the video goes out. So if you want to play this game, it'll be at Pins and Pints, 50 cents play. Seems like a deal to me. If you like the video, click like and hit subscribe. See you on the next one. Adios.